So hi, this is Nick Williams, sitting here with Richard Barrett. Hi. How you doing?
Hi Nick.
Good to see you. We've been having some fascinating conversations, and one of the things I've heard you talk about and write about, and I loved, is this idea of let your mind serve your soul, and let your soul serve the one mind or the divine. How did you come by that, and how have you achieved that?
Big question. It took a lifetime. It's the short answer.
Your life's not over yet.
The life's not over yet. What I've learned in my lifetime is that that we actually have three minds. The body has a mind. It takes care of so many things that the whole function of the body, homeostasis. I mean, it takes care of an amazing number of things, and it is affected by the ego mind, which gets stressed up about and fearful about life, and that affects the body. And if you get if you're anxious and have a lot of stress over a long period of time, what happens is your body mind picks up that ego mind fear, creates chemicals to enable you to deal with stress, but the stress goes on, and so your body becomes dysfunctional. So having the body mind in alignment with the ego mind is really important. Now, the ego mind also have fears which block the soul from coming through. The soul really wants to give its gift, but if the ego is showing up in fear all the time, that gets blocked.
And doesn't that happen though so much? Because that's it's one of my passions, is helping people get beyond, I call it resistance, but when their mind is stopping their soul's expansion and their soul's expression.
Yeah, so the ego does that through the subconscious fears and conscious fears that it's holding on to. We mostly learn our subconscious fears during the age of 1 to 7 when we're young children, and our emotional brain, the limbic brain, is well developed, but the neocortex hasn't developed, and so we're not able to look at things rationally. And so we learn to maximize pleasure and minimize pain, and we learn a whole set of beliefs which may be dysfunctional because basically everybody's born to dysfunctional parents. If you're a parent, you're dysfunctional. I mean, we're human, right?
Yeah, it makes sense at the time, and we just carry on living.
Yeah, but the point is, they get hardwired into our hard disk of our brain, and we keep on thinking the world, and it operates like that. We keep getting triggered by those beliefs, fear-based beliefs. That undermines our ability to operate in the world. The key is, how can you let go of those beliefs, master those fear-based beliefs, so that you live a more harmonious, energetic or emotional life, which allows space for the soul to come through and for you to be here at the voice of your soul and be directed to do what you came to do. It's, as I said, for me it's taken a lifetime to figure that out.
And so for you, has it taken a long time for you to kind of, kind of shrink your own resistance so that you can become a clearer channel for your soul?
Yes, it's a step-by-step process, and I've consciously been on that process for about 20 years now. But once you're on it consciously and you begin to understand what the process is, then it can accelerate quickly. And so, I've realized that, my mission in life really now is to be a servant of my soul. As long as I remember that, that's fine, because everything gets taken care of.
You don't get into too much trouble.
No, I don't get into too much trouble at all, fortunately.
Right. Because I'll just tell a quick story. A number of years ago, I was up in Scotland at a Buddhist retreat called a place called Samuling. I don't know if you've ever been there. I was chatting to a Buddhist Lama, and he said to me, "What do I do?" And I thought, what can I say that sounds grand to this Lama? And I said, "Oh, I try and bring spirit into business." And he said, "Well, that's interesting. We're trying to bring business into spirit." And we had this kind of fascinating conversation where, he was saying, we're great meditators, but we need to learn to do public relations and manage our accounts.
Exactly.
And deal with the worldly things. So we need both, don't we? I think a lot of people, I would say that a lot of people kind of get it wrong by saying they want to get rid of their ego. It's not about getting rid of their ego. No. We need an ego to be the servant of our soul, don't we?
Absolutely.
To deal with the world and to be practical.
Absolutely. I mean, I once wrote an article. I think it's on one of my websites where it says what's right and wrong with spirituality in business, and I deliberately made it a very controversial title because I wanted to have a religious dimension to it. What's right and wrong, you see. But I mean, basically, that story was that there are there are 4 modes of existence: physical, emotional, mental, and spiritual. And if you're just focusing on the spiritual aspect of business, it's really, you're focusing on, you know, the other end of the pendulum swing. You know, business has been very physical, money, etc. You're saying, okay, we need to rectify that, let's swing to the... But ignoring the fact that there are actually 4 dimensions. And so you really need to have a balanced approach: physical, emotional, mental, and spiritual. And so when we say bringing spirituality into business, I think it's more about having a sense of vision, a sense of mission, and a deep sense of meaning, finding a deep sense of meaning in what you do, in your work.
It's not about sitting around meditating and not worrying if you don't get any
No, it's. I mean, that might be a personal approach, but it's not necessarily, you know, the approach that would work in business, and where you have to be also very pragmatic and practical.
So, to summarise then, your kind of vision is that, you know, we're all here, our soul is here to serve the greater good, and we need to kind of master our ego, our ego mind, so that that soul gift, those soul gifts and our mission, we can live it successfully.
Yes, I would say we're here to master the fears of the ego mind, and then put the ego to, you know, to be in service of the soul.
Brilliant. Thank you very much. It's been fascinating. Hope you enjoyed watching it.
Thank you, Nick.